Good day to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska-Koper, and this is Poland Daily Culture. And we have an American researcher, Carson Backer, here from University of Virginia, specializing in World War II and Armia Krajowa. Carson, thank you very much for showing up here.
Thank you.
And you are, let's say, a young researcher who is so in love in Poland and learning details about World War II, Armia Krajowa, the Warsaw Uprising, a fascinating fact that they're back in Virginia, so much more than people who live here, walk those streets and have no idea what happened. So my question is to how many veterans you had a chance to talk with?
Well, fortunately, I started, as you notice, I am a bit young, and I started this work a bit early because I understood that if I waited, I could always access those archival materials in the books, but I could never access the people if I waited much longer. And so I have been fortunate to interview several people who did survive the Warsaw Uprising and other events related to the occupation of Poland. And of course, Dr. Kolski, I spent the most time with. But another excellent interview I had was with Bolesław Biega, who sadly has passed away this year at 100 years old. And he is quite famous for actually having gotten married in the very first days of the Warsaw Uprising. And there's a photograph, maybe some of you have seen it on the internet or elsewhere, but it's him and his wife, Alicja Treutler, who are actually having this wedding ceremony, even though the fighting is happening all around them. And it was quite a symbolic event, but yeah, Bolesław, he was living in New Jersey when he passed away, and that's where I went to see him. He'd emigrated to the U.S. Many decades ago, but he was a real gentleman, and he had a wonderful story in his own right.
Well, it seems fascinating, and just the fact that there were still people who managed to get into them and to talk about what really happened and how it looked like just in this Warsaw, just a few streets away, or they fought for such a long time, and managed to, well, sadly lose, but have all of this experience. When you were talking to him, how do you judge also their actions and this spirit and the result of the Warsaw Uprising?
Well, first of all, I can't even begin to imagine the experience of these individuals who had to live through this. The number of deaths in Warsaw was beyond anything. I think somebody once said that it was roughly equivalent to having a 9/11 attack every single day of the Warsaw Uprising in terms of casualties. So it was truly devastating, and that's something I think not many people understand in the U.S. is just how terrible this event was.
And all young people,
Exactly.
all friends, usually scouts, usually very 16, 15, 14, dying one by one, and probably needed to be sort of hard to fight another day when your wife, for example, died the day before.
Exactly. Well, from my understanding, from talking to Biega and talking to Kolski, it was quite a horror. It was quite a troubling experience. Day by day, it got worse, and of course, as supplies began to run out, as ammunition began to run out, and as hopes began to run out, it was even more difficult to carry on. But they did regardless. I can think of examples from Kolski when he was actually returning to the city with his unit from the outskirts of the city, and they were stopped by a unit of Hungarian soldiers. And the Hungarian soldiers spoke with his commander for a moment and then allowed them to pass and re-enter the fight. And it's remarkable to think that being outside of the fighting, being kind of at a safe distance, they were still so determined to get into the fight and get into the action and do their job to defend their city. So it's courage on an entirely different level than many of us are used to. And it's tough to imagine even hearing it from people who witness. It's tough to imagine the actual experience of being in the middle of that.
Absolutely, and the actual determination and how to live afterwards, because it's one thing that to survive, but to get over the trauma and get over, like to go back to a normal life, and let's say wake up every day and go to an office, having all this back in your head, that needs to be a challenge, because after it, I guess everything seems trivial. Then
Certainly.
you have to make a coffee for yourself when just you remember about all of this horrors which happened to you. So, well, I personally thank you very much that you are interested in this culture and you bring up those stories back to life, so they will not be forgotten, but they will live also with you and to the people you pass it to, and in your dissertation as well. And to all of you, the viewers of Poland Daily Culture, it is a great encouragement for all of you, and also a request from me. Keep reading and learning about history, because it shall not and should not be forgotten. And thank you for watching our show.